you have to lead yourself first. Then you have to lead a team, and then you have to lead a business, and you have to do it in that order, and you can't stop any step. Like every morning, you got to wake up and lead yourself.
Yeah, you're not like done with this thing, now you can move on to the next.
No.
It's very linear. Every single day, clock resets.
Yeah. And the leaders that plateau, John Maxwell talks about the law of the lid, right? The leaders that plateau don't wake up every morning and lead themselves.
Yeah.
You got to get better every day.
Hard work, real talk, no shortcuts. I'm Joseph Cabrera. This is American Operator. All right, team. I'm here with Schuyler Williamson. Man, I'm going to give a quick rest. One, good to have you in, brother.
Yeah, I'm grateful to be here.
Army guy, former Army guy, both of us went to West Point, so I think this is probably along some years back would probably connected us. But man, you've had a cool career. I mean, everything from going to the academy and serving, but even having a stint in there playing pro baseball. Was it Detroit you were with?
Yeah, Detroit Tigers.
Man, I mean, it's crazy to think about that. We'll dive into how that all came to be.
Yeah.
Then after that, leaving that and then starting businesses, running them, buying businesses. And what's interesting, especially in this town, your name, whether you know it or not, man, gets, I think in a really good way, it's kind of a hub name. Folks are typically running into you or working with you, and I think it's because they really enjoy being around you. So, Schuyler, man, we're stoked to have you on.
Yeah, I'm grateful to be here.
Talk to me about playing some pro ball, man. I mean, we could talk about military stories, but dude, I thought when you went to the academy, they didn't release you to, even if you were even if you'd go round one, they wouldn't release you.
Yeah.
If you wore an Army jersey during the game.
It was that way.
How did you do that? I mean, what happened there? How did that happen?
Okay, so what's interesting is if we wind back to my senior year in high school, I had a decision to make. I could go to a big school and play football, which I love football. Yeah. I loved hitting people.
What'd you play in? Yeah, what'd you play?
Well, I was a linebacker and a running back. I was the best. I was in a small school and I was a good athlete. Right? And I was big, and I was big for a high school player. So and I was fast. So I was a good football player. I was recruited to play safety, and so I had a big school that offered me a scholarship to play football.
Yeah,
or I could go to West Point. And basically say, well, I'm not going to play any professional sports. And I remember sitting down at the table with my father, and he basically said, look, you might make it to the NFL, but you've been hurt in high school, and there's a chance you'll get hurt in college too, and you might not make it. And we didn't make money at college back then, right? Like we just played the game. But if you go to West Point, you'll never have to suffer. And I was hungry. My parents had the three of us. I have two brothers. They had us very young, and there was always love in my house. But it was humble, right? Like we didn't have a whole lot of extra. And again, I'm very blessed. My parents are still married today. My father showed me how to be a loving man, a good father, a good husband, and hard worker. But my father worked in a manufacturing facility for 40 years and retired, got his pension.
Yeah.
My mother was a nurse for 30 years and retired. Like my folks, they worked their way up and stayed with the same company the whole time. And so they just got what they got. They didn't go out and build a mountain of cash. And certainly when you're 18 and 20, you don't have a lot of money. My dad's sweeping floors in a manufacturing facility. My mom's a brand new nurse.
Yeah.
So we didn't have a lot.
Real humble.
Real humble. But the gift that it gave me was hunger. And so to get to college, it wasn't going to be a check from my parents. It was going to be either sports or academics. Well, I chose sports. And so I was the kid that you'd go to practice, and then after practice, I'd go home and run sprints in the street, and then I'd hit off the tee, all hours of the night until I was told to come inside. And so I did that, and I literally manufactured myself into a good athlete. All right, chose West Point because I wanted something more for my life.
Where did West Point come up on the radar? Because that's the thing that also, usually unless it comes from your family or someone tells you, how'd you know?
Had no idea. My high school baseball coach said, Schuyler, I think you're an academy guy. He's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I had no idea. I'd never left Pensacola, Florida until I started taking recruiting trips to colleges.
Wow.
that they paid for,
Yeah.
And so the first time I ever got on a plane was on a recruiting trip to West Point. Had never been on a plane before. Had no idea what I was getting myself into. Didn't have any aspirations of being in the military or anything like that. The only thing that I wanted was a better life.
Yeah.
Than what my parents were having. I was going to create something more for myself. So my coach said, "Hey, you're an academy guy," because I was going to be successful, and I knew how to say yes, sir, and I knew all the things. So he helped me apply, and he helped me get a nomination and all of this stuff, and I had no idea, and it wasn't a big deal to me if they turned me down.
Yeah,
but they accepted me.
I've always found incredible, man, for like folks, because we went to school with guys and gals that like 7th generation.
Oh yeah,
dad's a general,
wanted it their whole life.
Uncle's a senator, like everybody knew. And you show up there, it's just rare to me get that population that's like kind of stumbled onto it.
Yeah, no, someone came to me with that, and so I was one of the guys that didn't get the high SAT scores. I didn't have straight A's in high school.
Yeah.
I was a good ball player. And so my coach sent my videos to the football coach and the baseball coach there and said, "You need to get this guy in your program." And they used their version of a scholarship, which, the sports teams have like picks, right?
Yeah.
They don't have to spend money on it, but they go in front of the admissions board and they say, well, I've met with this kid. He's academy material and he'll succeed. And so somehow, they approved me. I got into the program, and so I got in. So that was the first thing. Was I got into West Point thinking that my professional aspirations were over. I love football. The football coach wasn't as excited about me as the baseball coach at West Point, and I knew I was going to struggle academically. So I was like, man, you know what? I'll just go with the baseball team.
Yeah.
It's all for fun at this point anyways, and I need something extra to keep me moving. I'll just go with the baseball coach where they want me. I'll start early. The football coach is like, "We may have a spot for you to walk on." I'm like, man, if you would have just looked at my tape, you would have really wanted me to play, but that's okay. I didn't hit my head. I got to go play baseball. 9/11 happened. I was at school. I was the first class that had the chance to walk away from West Point. So I was a sophomore when 9/11 happened.
2001.
And so up until, not everybody knows this, but up until sophomore year, you can leave West Point and not owe the Army any obligation. Junior year, the day you step in, you owe the Army. So as a junior at West Point, you owe the Army. If you were to quit or get kicked out, you go into the military because you have an obligation. So I'm sitting here as a sophomore. Now I know we're at war. I didn't sign up for this Army thing.
Yeah.
I just signed up for a better life. So I had to do some real soul searching. And the great thing that West Point does is they teach you to desire to serve. And I always had a servant heart. I was the oldest of 2 brothers, but I always played team sports, and the way that I led was with that servant heart. Who does my team need me to be in this moment so that they can be their best? I always led that way, and so I was a good cadet. And so what? I'm a fit for this. My country needs me now. I might not be the best soldier in the world, but I'm going to be better than most. And so I decided, all right, I'm going to commit to this. Junior year, I have the most extraordinary year. I break home run records. It seemed like every third at bat I hit a home run, and if I didn't hit a home run, I stole a base.
Yeah.
So it was just an extraordinary year.
You were having a good time.
I was having a good time, and I was the player of the year. I was an academic All-American. I had all these accolades that were really cool. In junior year, when Bob Ross came to coach at West Point, he said, I'd come coach the football team if I can send people to the NFL. And so somewhere in the government, there was someone strong enough that could rewrite the rules.
Yeah.
And so my junior year, they rewrote the rules that they could classify West Point cadets, Olympic athletes, and send them to the Olympics, but they could also send them to the NFL, the MLB, all the different sports, right?
Yeah.
And so just as fortune would have it, my junior year, they changed the rules. And yeah, I mean, the very next week, they changed the rules and they announced it. The very next week, I had 20 scouts in the stands watching me play.
It's fat. So because before they stay away, they're like, what's the point? None of these guys can they play here.
There was no reason to come see me. There was it was cool that my name was like in all the national like rankings, like up there, but there was no reason to come get me because they couldn't have me.
Army guy. Yeah.
Now, if I could have gone like some of these guys and leave as a junior out of college, I would have had a huge signing bonus. I would have been the best catcher at that time or whatever. But West Point doesn't let you graduate early.
No.
So I had to go senior year. I almost set a record by getting hit by pitch my senior year. So they didn't pitch to me at all. I think I got hit, dozens of times. I stole more bases because I didn't take the trot around the base that much. But my season looked very different because I just didn't have enough time to swing the bat.
Yeah.
But I did well enough to get drafted and went into the pros. And the pros, it was a dream come true. What you don't know as a young guy before you get into the pros is it is a real business. It is a bit of a game. They want you to feel like it's a game because they want you to enjoy what you do. Kind of like we want our teams to enjoy what they do.
Yeah.
Right. So they want you to enjoy it. But I remember, I moved through a couple of different teams because I got promoted while I was there. But most of the team doesn't speak English. The guys that did speak English, they were a lot younger than me because I graduated, as a senior. A lot of these guys are straight out of high school. Yeah, all these guys are out of high school, and you just think differently, right? Like our college experience is very different than everybody else's.
Yeah. I call it kind of like the 10-year, up count. Basically, like there's a 10-year seasoning.
Yeah.
23-year-old West Point grad acts like a mid-30-year-old.
That's right. Well, because at the school, they somehow in their formula, they teach you that your life isn't about you. And you think about all the normal college kids and their experience, their whole college experience, it's just about them. It's the first time they get to make all the decisions that they want, and it's just about them.
Yeah.
And so they graduate college, and their life is just about them. We graduate college and our life's about our country. Our life's about our soldiers. It isn't about us. And we walk out as 23-year-olds thinking that way.
Yeah.
And that's why we don't act like 23-year-olds, much less 18-year-olds. We had 18-year-olds on our team that they could throw the ball 100 miles an hour, but they were just kids. And so I related to nobody. They called me the general there. They love me. So Detroit, the coaches love me.
Yeah, because you got some team leadership now,
we got some leadership. We've got a guy out here setting the standard.
Maybe they're not going to go run around and get stupid on the weekends and try to show up for the game.
Yeah, I had money in my pocket because I didn't spend it all, and I didn't. There's lots of stories we can go down that route. But one of the things, so I'd work out, then we would practice.
Yeah. And
then when everybody got on the bus to go up the hill, it was like a 3-mile ride uphill back to the barracks.
Yeah.
Or the apartments, whatever you want to call it, right? And I just said, I'll meet you up there. And so I would run up the hill because I didn't want to lose, in the Army, you got to have that endurance to be able to pick up and run, for a long distance. And I didn't want to lose that. And so I would run at the end of every day, I would run up the hill while everybody else took the bus. And they just thought that was the craziest thing.
Man. Yeah. And that's and you were you still are commissioned at this point.
Yeah. I was an officer. I was an Olympic athlete and a second lieutenant.
It's so good, man.
Isn't that wild?
It's wild, man.
So I had to recruit. In the downtime, I had to get on the phone and be with these radio folks and just recruit for the military. That was my job, was to recruit.
It's like the old school, go sell some war bonds, kind of thing, right? Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How long did that go for? How long did you go before the Army goes, okay, we need you back?
Well, it's funny. It was my decision. So the season ended, and they called me and they said, "Hey, we want you to come back to spring training with the big league team." And Pudge Rodriguez was the catcher at the time. I wasn't going to be, the big league catcher, but they wanted me to come back, probably for leadership, just to be around the older guys and just mature. And I was excited about it. And then I was with my wife back then. And I remember us sitting down and I just, my younger brother deployed as an enlisted guy, right? He fought in the battle for Fallujah, which, your older folks probably understand like that. That was a very nasty fight for our soldiers there.
Tense.
And my brother was a part of that. And he had extreme PTSD when he came back, and he had terrible stories about his leadership. And I sat with that. And then all my buddies from West Point were overseas. And it wasn't guilt. I didn't feel guilty about the decision I made, but that servant heart just started beating real hard. And I remember telling my wife, we were 23 years old. I was like, Kristen, I think I got to go in the Army. And you know what's wild? She was like, I think you're right.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She's like, I think you're right. If she had a chance to make that decision all over again, she'd have been like, you're crazy.
You're crazy because they get that cost.
Because I'm about to not see you for basically 6 years. I mean, that was the result of that.
Yeah.
You know, I got everything I asked for. So I did the Ranger, the Airborne. I went to Iraq and Afghanistan. I pulled the trigger and I got blown up. I mean, I had every experience that a soldier in combat could experience. And I think I led my men well. I certainly think we made a change, and I feel good about that. That's why I can talk about it, and not focus on all the injuries and the folks that lost their lives. But yeah, I called Detroit and I told them, I was like, hey guys, I'm so grateful for you guys actually giving me a chance to live my dream. But I have to go back into the military. And this was at the same time Tillman was doing his deal.
Oh, yeah, man.
And he didn't influence, my brother influenced me.
Yeah.
His experience influenced me. But I think Tillman being an example of how someone should step up, that helped. It certainly helped. I was like, man, it's not that crazy. Like other people are making that decision.
Gives you a little extra rocket boost, a little momentum back into it. Yeah.
And that's, pray that you can be an example like that for others.
Yeah.
He had no idea that I was looking up to him at that time. And yet I was. Yeah. And I don't know if I saved anybody's life, actually I probably did. But I didn't know when I was making that decision that I was going to save lives. And I just knew, on the inside, I knew it was the right thing to do. Yeah. And so I did it. So I walked away from Detroit.
No,
they didn't walk away from me. Isn't that wild?
Good on you, man.
They would have cut the check. They would have had to cut a check for $80,000 to buy my freedom, to buy my obligation back from West Point.
Yeah.
And they just said when, like you tell us when you're ready.
Oh, they were on board to do it all.
Oh, yeah.
Get this cat on here, we'll cut the check and pay you to come.
Yeah. Yeah. They had 3 years to write that check before the Army pulled me back. And it was just like, let's see if you stay healthy. That was basically it. Let's see if you stay healthy to the end, but we certainly want you on our team.
Wow, man. So you get back in, you go do your time overseas. I know it's a big question, and I think you've already alluded to it, but if you think about who you are today, what are some of the things that you feel like your military experience, especially in a time of war, either taught you about yourself or the way that you kind of continue to do this thing we call business now?
Yeah. Well, I wrote a book about it.
Yeah. Yeah, which, by the way, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Well, at its most basic level, I learned that you have to lead yourself every day first, or else you won't stay healthy enough to lead your team. And then you have to lead your team before you worry about leading your whole organization, right? And so if we just talk about it from a military standpoint, I was an infantry guy, and most of my soldiers were infantry guys. But I had to wake up every day in a very stressful environment, and I had to be ready to go fight, risk my life for another person, for a cause, risk my life every day. I had to get myself in the right mindset every day to go do that and do it passionately and willingly. Then I had a team of senior enlisted guys, right, that I had to lead them so that they could lead their teams, right? I didn't go out and start leading my whole organization. I led my team. So I led intentionally through people so that when I go to look at and leading my organization, I had some help along the way. I had some other leaders helping me do this thing. And so I think in the military, specifically in combat, it was drilled into me that you have to lead yourself first, then you have to lead a team, and then you have to lead a business, and you have to do it in that order, and you can't stop any step. Like every morning you got to wake up and lead yourself.
Yeah, you're not like done with this thing, now you can move on to the next.
No.
It's very linear. Every single day, clock resets.
Yeah. And the leaders that plateau, John Maxwell talks about the law of the lid, right? The leaders that plateau don't wake up every morning and lead themselves.
Yeah.
You got to get better every day, or else you will climax. And some of us have more talent than others, but there's going to be a point where you stop, right? Talent's only going to take you so far. And then you got to do a little bit extra. And that's leading, right? Like you lead yourself to the next step. And
that leading yourself stuff, what's the kind of stuff that you think about even today that you're like, these are my self-leadership type things that you work on yourself or things that you hold yourself accountable to?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, first I have a vision for my life and I have a purpose for my life. And I think a lot of people that aren't willing to put in the work to lead themselves, they're missing those pieces. They don't have a reason to get up out of bed early. And even if they had a reason to get up out of bed early, they don't have a vision for why they're doing it.
Yeah.
And how it's going to look when it's done well. And so I think that those two things are really big, having a purpose for your life and having a vision for what it looks like. And then, I focus on my energy. We call it combat ready in the military, right? Like, and so just to define that for the folks that don't have a military background, being combat ready is if you were to receive a mission, you're ready to go out like right away, right? There's not this big mobilization period. And so for me, being combat ready in business as a leader is just making sure that you're healthy. And to be healthy, you got to be healthy mentally, physically, and spiritually. And so mentally, the way that I think about it is you have a growth mindset, not the kind of psychiatric definition, but do you have a growth mindset? And are you feeding that every day? So every single morning, I'm reading someone else's business book. I don't read nonfiction, or I don't read fiction. I read nonfiction every morning, and I'm trying to solve problems in my business through other people's wins, their models, their successes. Can I pull from them something that is going to help me solve this problem in my business so I can go to the next step? So that's that growth mindset. Physically, your body's either going to be an asset or it's going to be a liability, right? When you wake up in the morning, is your body telling you what to do? Like, oh man, you got 10 more minutes. Go ahead and snooze. Like you're tired. You deserve it, right? Or are you able to wake up in the morning and be like, get up, go get dressed. Oh, by the way, you're going to work out.
Yeah.
And I love physical resistance exercise because some of that growth mindset and that mental adversity, that you can overcome, you can manufacture it when you're working out. It's really hard to manufacture that in any other part in your life. Healthy, right? Yeah. Like there's some cold plunges and some stuff like that people I think are geniuses in kind of manufacturing it. But like there's a reason why you do that mentally is because when you can overcome that adversity, you're just that much stronger, right? But yeah, you've got to have energy, physical energy, to be able to go be a great leader for 9 hours or 8 hours, whatever your work day looks like. And you owe it to your team to be that. Plus, when you don't exercise your body, stress can live in it. And so, it's funny. I went on all these patrols when I was overseas, but we used to work out too. Yeah. Because it helped us like get that stress out of our body and like help us sleep. I mean, otherwise we wouldn't sleep. And then spiritually, the easiest way that I can define spiritual health is when you wake up in the morning, do you think about what you're going to get? Or do you wake up and think about what you're going to give the world? And to the extent that you wake up and you think about what you're going to give the world, that's how healthy you are spiritually. And so when you figure out your life isn't about you, that it's about everyone else that you're going to connect with in the day, like that's when you're spiritually dialed in.
How do you learn all that? Was that like, I don't remember that class at West Point, but I imagine through Survival 101. Yeah, Survival 101. There's definitely a lot of the lab in which the experiment, which is West Point, I think does help. But I do think, where do you feel like you started to really kind of galvanize those pillars and go, okay, that's a great framework to live by?
Yeah, I mean, I've I've been a really thoughtful person most of my life. And I think that comes back to playing sports, and my wife and I, we have 2 children and they're both in sports and they get a choice what sport they're in, but they don't get a choice whether they play a sport or not. Like dad insists, right? And it's because when you understand the value of a coach, when you can be trained, when you can take instruction and improve yourself, there is something that's going to click in your brain that starts to think like, okay, well, there's this iterative process of I just did something. I was either successful or not, so I measured it, and then what can I learn from it? And so I've always been really good at saying, okay, well, the coach is giving me information. I'm going to go try it, fail or succeed, learn, and then why, and so that I can rebuild and get going. In the book, The Lean Startup, they talk about the build, measure, and learn loop, and that's it, right? I brought that into my business, but that having experience and then taking away what you can out of it, just in thinking, okay, like everybody calls me a great leader. They have no idea how I led overseas. This is back when I was younger, right? And I was this combat veteran and had all these young friends. They're like, oh man, you're such a great leader. Well, why were they saying that? What was I doing that they weren't doing or hadn't learned yet, right? Because they don't teach you this stuff in school.
Yeah.
Well, I spent time reflecting on that. And I was building the models in my head that made me successful. And so, okay, well, a model is easy to teach. So I was always just taking it and building the model and then teaching it to people.
Yeah.
And so just the thought process of that model and what made me successful, I've done that from a young age. And military just helped me speed it up because it was the most chaotic environment that you could lead in. And so we sharpened our leadership skills under the most extreme circumstances you can have. And you had to have great models or else you lost your life or you lost a soldier's life.
That's right, man. There's some basic discipline. As you're saying that, it got me thinking, I wonder if this resonates or not with you. I think in a time of war, there is this interesting, it's almost like a 1 to 10 rule. For every day, it's like, feels like 10 days. It's like not so much, I mean, the principles of war and putting yourself through that or being a part of that situation definitely brings a level of input that a normal life is not necessarily going to give you. But what it also does, it really packs. It feels like a year overseas is like a decade lived.
Yeah.
Where like someone might lose someone special to them over 10 years, one person.
Yeah.
You'll lose folks every single month out there, right? And so you're expediting kind of what those feelings and those experiences are in a short amount of time. It's, I think, the thing that isn't talked about. Does that resonate with you, that like war has got a way to pack in a lot of life in a little bit of time? Yeah.
I mean, so packs in a ton of experience. It packs in a ton of perspective, right? Like it would be hard for you to go find somebody that's more grateful for their life than me. Like I literally think, like I walk this earth thinking, okay, there's something that God has me here to do because I should have lost my life so many times.
Yeah.
But I'm here. So there must be a reason for that. And, now I got these kids and I got this wife that loves me and I got these businesses and I'm just so grateful. And my gratitude is through the roof because I've seen these things that really no human being should see. But if you got to, it's like having an encounter with cancer. Like, man, when you have an encounter with your mortality and then you get another chance to live, you just approach things differently. So I think those two things, but then also the amount of energy that you and I spent thinking during that time of our life. If you can be thoughtful as a leader and actually respond to things instead of react, you're going to be so much better than just the average person, because most of this world just goes about their life and just reacts. And some of us are, again, it's talent, right? Some of us are super talented at reacting really well.
Yeah.
Most of us aren't great at reacting.
Usually comes across emotional or off and
or you just missed the target. Yeah. I mean, we're just like, some of us just aren't as smart. Now, if I have enough time to be thoughtful and respond, okay, I got a fighting chance here. And I think combat taught us that, hey, you actually have more time than you think to do these things. And most of these deadlines people stress out about are self-imposed, right? Like they put their own deadline on. They actually have more time to think. And if you just slow things down, right? The first paragraph in our mission planning was situation. Yeah. If you just slow down and spend some time thinking about the situation we're in, then go do your plan. I mean, success goes up. Your chance of success goes up. It's because you're thoughtful. And so I think those three things. I think what you said, the experiences and the perspective, but then adding that piece of like literally, we didn't have phones, we didn't have computers, we didn't have TV, we didn't carry books that weighed you down. We sat and we thought, and we thought, and we thought. I mean, we spent years overseas thinking, and when you turn into a professional thinker, I mean. Your probability of success goes up, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
funny.
we took that away at a young age, and that's brilliant, right? Like we got it young, so we have all this time to go practice it.
Yeah, there's a part that I think about often is it's a non-human reaction. I think about a teammate getting, let's say, wounded or shot out there in the field. If I was here in this world and didn't have any military experience or any leadership experience, you would run to that person. Or in the service, they teach you don't do that, right? Even if you want to, right? You actually have to fight every urge to do something that's naturally human. Yeah. Because you have to, okay, where'd that come from? Yep. Am I going to put more folks at risk trying to figure out how to save this one life? It's very inhuman, actually, when you think about it, but it does get you to kind of slow down a little bit. Well, think.
And we have somebody on the team that's their job to go check on that person.
That's right. Doc.
Yeah.
Right?
What's your job? Your job is command and control as the leader. What's his job? His job's security. What's this person? There's the medic. His job is to go there. And by the way, who's running over there? Well, he's doing it. He's doing his job. So are you going to do yours, or are you going to go try to do his?
It's such an interesting. I think about the service and how also there was especially as an officer, there was always this in the private sector. I see where this stuff kind of gets a little bit gray. Mm-hmm. Where they were very, if you remember, like at the academy, they always were very, and even in the service, they were very, very senior leaders were very intentional about fraternization. Yeah. Hey, don't just become buddies with your guys. Yeah. And it wasn't out of like a they versus us. Mm-hmm. It was more like, I need you to be able to make good decisions. Yeah. And when someone becomes your friend, mm-hmm. it's really hard to make good decisions as a leader. Yeah. Because what you should be doing is sending Doc out there after it's secure, mm-hmm. not going out there and helping your poker buddy out of the fray and putting everybody else at risk. Yeah. How do you balance that now? Like even in the private sector where that rank structure kind of doesn't exist anymore. How do you keep that professionalism so you can make good decisions as a leader? Yeah. Well, I think first you got to give yourself some grace to say like, hey, it's okay to love everyone, right? Like I loved all my soldiers. I love all my people now. But then you also have to do your job, which I happen to be the leader of my organization. And so my responsibility for their families is to make sure that organization thrives. Because if the organization doesn't thrive, no one's family thrives. And so all my people know I love them. Even the ones that I've asked to leave our company, I think if you were to ask them, like, did he love you? I think they would say yes. I'm not perfect. I didn't make every decision perfectly, and I don't treat everybody perfectly all the time. I'm human. I'm flawed like everybody else on this planet. But I love them. And so when you love someone, but then you just do your job well, there's forgiveness there. There's grace, and you have to do it to yourself first, right? But I think the people that it's hardest for are the ones that are relational driven. Right? Like some of us wake up in the morning and they think about the things they're going to get done. And some of us wake up in the morning and think about who they're going to get to see and do those things with. Right. Yeah. And so we're just wired differently. It's harder for the people that wake up and think, man, I'm going to get to see all these people today. It's harder for them because it isn't about the task to them. It's about doing the task with other people. And that's what really turns them on. I'm more of a task oriented guy. So this is easier for me to do. But I think you got to give yourself grace. And then I think you just got to say, like, look, in doing my job really well and doing
taking care of my responsibility really well actually helps everyone. Even when you ask someone to leave the organization, which is the biggest thing you can do, right? You like let them go. You're actually letting them free so that they can go do something they're going to thrive at. Because what they're doing right now, they're not succeeding. And that's a painful spot to be. To be in life doing something professionally and not succeeding, that's not a way to live.
Yeah.
To disappoint yourself every day, like that's not a way to live. Go do something that you're great at and that you care a ton about and you're motivated. Like go do that. And so even when you're letting someone go, you know, you're giving them freedom to go do something they're really going to excel at. You know, everybody needs to be coached. So, you know, there's accountability for a reason, right? And when you chose to come work for me, I tell them I'm not interested in average, right? We're going to be all-stars. We're going to be a championship team. We're not going to be an average team. And so what I'm going to ask, and these are my expectations, I'm going to ask you to be a championship player, like championship teammate, right? And so there's a certain level of effort and care that I expect to see. And, you know, if you don't do that, I point it out.
Yeah.
I point it out like on the way so that it's a small thing. I just say, hey, look, we need to do better than that, right? Like, you know the standard? Okay, let's hit the standard. Mm-hmm. It never turns into a big deal. But yeah, I point out the standard, you know, and they have the freedom to call me out too. Like if I don't hit the standard, then they can call me out too. You know, we have opportunities to do that, that I think they feel safe and they can call me out too.
Yeah, it's just a healthy relationship to have. It does. Yeah. It's a lot of art. There's science in there, but it's also a lot of art.
Yeah.
So you get out of the service.
Yep.
And you immediately go on getting into business. Like, you know, you got everything from real estate and home building and laundromats, man. You got, you know, who knows what else is Schuyler working on there, right? You got your own minor league team coming into play. I'm just curious, like, how did that jump happen?
Well, man, you know, what's interesting is I tried to go work for somebody.
Okay. How'd that go?
It was disappointing. I got some good guidance from a mentor of mine that said, go choose the person, don't choose the job, or, you know, don't choose the company or the industry, choose the person. So, because if you go work for the right person, then they're going to turn you into something special. And you just happen to be in that industry, but like they'll make you a great professional. And so when I went on all these interviews, I met these folks who would be my leader. And I'm a good soldier. Like I'll say yes, sir, and I'll move out. But it was just discouraging. And this is the first time professionally that I had the chance to say who I was going to work for. Up until then, the military said, you go here, report to that person. Yeah. And so I had a chance to say it. I went on all these interviews and I just didn't feel good about any of them. And I started to feel a little hopeless, honestly.
That you were looking to kind of be inspired by this person you're sitting across from?
Yeah. I was looking, you know how like when a general walks in the room, you just feel the power. They don't even have to say anything. They don't have to do anything. They walk in the room and you're like, somebody just showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody, I don't know what they do. I don't know how they do it, but they do whatever they're doing.
Yeah. You don't even need to see the stars.
That's right.
Right. They have that kind of gravity.
These guys that are leading big businesses, I mean, these CEOs for these big companies, they just walk in the room and like, you know there's somebody. You don't know who they are, but you know there's somebody. And they have that. And I wanted a feeling like that. I wanted to go work for somebody that gave me that feeling. And I ended up going to get my MBA at McCombs here in town to essentially buy myself some time. And I got recruited out of the MBA program to Schuyler Williams, their corporate office, and finally met somebody that I was like, oh, she's a general.
Yeah.
I mean, she had power. I knew she was doing it, and I just let her do it. Like she was using my own behavioral profile to motivate me. She was challenging me and like all this stuff in the interview. And I was like, man, you were awesome. And we got all the way to the end for the offer, and her offer was half of what everybody else was offering me. And I took it.
Wow.
And she said, hey, and to her credit, she said, if you do what you say you can do, I'll make you whole year 2. And when my first year annual came, she tripled my income.
Wow.
That after an annual. And so she delivered. I delivered. I did what I said I was going to do, and she delivered. She gave me 3 times the pay, and got me back to where I needed to be. And she was awesome. And for 5 years, there at Keller Williams, I learned business. I learned how to be entrepreneurs because we were teaching entrepreneurs, agents. Real estate agents are entrepreneurs. And that went really well. I had to get licensed because I was on the executive team, and all the executives there at the time I was there had to be licensed. You need to be like an agent, right?
Yeah.
Agent led. And I was good until the leadership transition. I didn't identify with those leaders anymore, the new president and CEO. So they switched the president and CEO at the same time. And the new folks that came in, they weren't those generals that I wanted anymore.
Yeah.
So I remember I had a little bit of an encounter with the president of the company there at the time. And I came home on a Friday, and I was talking to my wife about it. And she's like, well, just leave. We didn't have kids then, so it was a little bit easier, right? Like if we had to live underneath the bridge, we would just hold each other a little tighter, And she's like, just leave. Like you can at least be a real estate agent. You got your license. You know, like how these agents are running their business and all this stuff. And I said, okay, I'll lead. And that was the launch of our real estate business.
So you left saying you knew 2 things. So leaving, actually, let me go with this one first.
Yeah.
It seems like along the way, your wife's had a lot of confidence in you. I mean, I don't know that that's an initial reaction for most folks. It's usually a little more survivalist. Well, if you leave, what are we going to do? You know, or something like that.
Yeah.
Where's that come from? Is that early on? Y'all just had a combo, or is that what attracted you to her? What was the whole?
Well, I mean, she's pretty good looking, so I think that's what attracted me originally. I mean, we were friends. I mean, like she's awesome. She has so many qualities. No, out of college, she got her CPA while she was in college. And then was recruited by Deloitte & Touche and had a great paying job right out of college.
Yeah.
And so the one thing that Kristen and I did, and we got married right after baseball. So I played that season, we got married, and we got married at 23 years old.
Yeah.
And we never spent a dollar I made. We always just lived on hers. And we lived a great life on her income. But every dollar that I ever made in the military, at baseball, and then there at Keller Williams, it all went into the bank. And we didn't know how to invest it back then.
Yeah.
But we had cash.
But y'all knew.
We had cash. All right. And so you take the blessing of us saving and having cash in the bank, and then you couple that with both of our track records. Like she was going to be successful, I was going to be successful. Like we had a track record of it. We do what we say we're going to do, and we'll do it, first class. She was just betting on me as a great employee.
Yeah.
Right? Like, she's the leader. She's like, this is an A player here. Mm-hmm. I'm going to double down. I'm going to bet on him.
Yeah. Her whole thought process, it sounds like, hey, wherever he's going to end up, he's going to do fine.
Yeah. He's going to do just fine.
And if anything, staying somewhere that's going to be a B+ version of Schuyler is actually not a great thing, not a great move.
Yeah. Well, and we looked at, we did some math. we're thoughtful.
Yeah.
We did some math. For me to replace my income, I had to do like 18 transactions my first year at the average Austin real estate price.
Okay.
And I did 23 that first year. And so we were like, well, maybe you won't do 18, but I bet you get pretty close.
Yeah.
Like you're going to do some, right? And we got this cash to live on. Actually, we weren't living on the cash. We were living on her paycheck.
Yeah.
So you got your income to live on, just try to do 18, just get after it.
Yeah.
And it took a while to get the first couple, but then it happened. Right. And so, I think when you're going to go start a business, you got to have that runway of cash. You got to know your numbers. Like you do the math. Does the business work? A lot of people just go start a business, but they didn't do the math to see hey, is this actually a big enough opportunity for me? If I scale it and I put all this time and effort into it at its maturity, does this thing work?
Yeah.
And will it fuel the lifestyle that I want? You know, some people don't get there, right? Like I can only imagine, you know, if you're selling ice cream cones out of a trailer, well, you're going to sell out at some point. So there's a cap to how much you can sell out of that trailer, you know, on a daily or weekly basis, right? So that income it's capped at some point unless you buy a second trailer. And so I think you just got to do the numbers and just understand what you're buying into.
And, the numbers, like it's on both sides, is the business side, and then what I hear you saying is also on the what I call your personal OpEx. Yeah. Like a lot of folks don't, when they go pursue something new, especially a new venture, being an entrepreneur. A lot of times, what didn't change is their lifestyle.
Yeah.
And you go, well, man, you might need to kind of, you know, move into a cheaper place, get rid of a car, you know, whatever it might be.
It's temporary.
It's temporary.
Yeah.
Just that temporary pain.
Yeah.
Right. Or whatever you want to call that to kind of get you there.
Well, and how long can you do it? Like,
right.
You know, we're building these beautiful houses here in Austin, Texas, you know, big houses, right? Because that, you know, the bigger they are, the more profits you can get. I live in a 2,500 square foot house that, you know, it's dated. I mean, in many places in our house is dated. So we got some updated places.
Yeah.
But like our kids' bathrooms, they're like, you know, we got the seashell tile in there, you know, like we got the goods, you know?
Yeah.
It'd blow anybody's hair back. And, but you know, like, Kristen doesn't ask me for a new house all the time. She knows what we're doing.
Yeah.
And, you know, if we went and bought a 3,500 square foot brand new house, we wouldn't be able to give as much as we give.
Yeah. Yeah. You start kind of learning that other things are maybe a little more important. That's cool to hear. So you get into business. So you started this agent thing, and then you start from there recognizing like, hey, let me build my team around me. Is this kind of what led you down that path?
Yeah. Well, and I love the lead. So I'm a good individual producer, but that doesn't energize me. You know, mobilizing a team energizes me. And so I knew that I wanted to be the business owner that scaled the team. And so my assistant actually said, I'm giving you 6 months and then you need to hire me. So when I left Keller Williams, and she's still with me today, my assistant at the time. She's still with me today. She's family. She's a sister I never had.
Wow.
But she's like, all right, I'm giving you 6 months.
Yeah.
And then you got to take me. And so we, you know, it's a deal. You know, 6 months I hired her, and she was my first employee there. And you know, obviously best hire ever made. I mean, I'm here where I am today because of the leverage that she creates for me and the standard that she helps me live to. Like she truly multiplies me. And so with her, we were able to scale the business up. We were able to do more transactions, generate more leads, and you know, build a bigger business. And through living modestly, you know, living on half our income, we were able to store up enough cash to go start this construction company. And so, you know, we just the thing that I've been willing to do is to say yes to opportunity, knowing that I could turn it off if I had to.
Yeah.
And so real estate sales has always come naturally. It's always been a profitable, cash flowing business. It's always been beautiful for my family. It's rewarded us in so many ways. And I've taken these bets along the way, like the construction company, knowing that, all right, well, I'm going to hire my first employee for $150,000 a year. And really, it's really just 6 months. So it's really just $75,000. That's a $75,000 bet, because in 6 months, if he isn't doing what he says he can do,
he's not earning his keep. He's got to find somewhere else to go.
Yeah, we'll just find somewhere else to do. I mean, like, you know, and I was real clear with him. I was like, hey, look, you can build a house out of your cell phone. I don't know anything about building houses, but I know how to buy them right, and I know how to sell them right.
Yeah.
I'm going to pay you the $150,000 that you asked for. Yeah, I said, what's your number? He said, $150,000. I said, all right, I'm going to pay you that money, but you have to build this house out of your cell phone. And to his credit, the dude built a house out of his cell phone.
Wow. And
we sold it, and it was a great looking house, and it was profitable. But I knew, like, it was just a 6 month bet. Mm-hmm. Worst case scenario, I have to let this guy go. I sell this piece of real estate probably, for less than I bought it for, unfortunately, but I'm going to survive that. And it was worth the bet.
Yeah. And then you get into, you've gotten to so many things, and probably worth getting you back on there. We're actually going to do some other things with you. We'll go a little deeper dive into these things, but like, where did this idea of like, okay, construction,
yep,
now let's look at this other business, in the laundry space. Like, is this the kind of curious and what drives that creativity or whatever you want to call it?
Man, I'm really not as creative as maybe I sound, but so the construction company, these guys make good money in construction. When it's done really well, it's a great business because the margin isn't super high, but you spend so much money in the business that even a smaller margin ends up being a lot of money. So I knew it was a great business, but the compliment that it really gave my business, my sales business, is there's going to be a for sale sign in the ground for 12 months while we're building it in the best location in Austin, and it's a big, beautiful house. Those were the buyers that we wanted to talk to. And so they called our sign all year long asking us, and they're a lot of these guys are unrepresented.
Yeah.
And so, it brought leads into our business, and it was the right leads. And so it complemented our core business really well. And that's why the bet on construction made so much sense. Because even if I broke even in the construction company, which there was never an intent to break even, like we were always going to make money with it.
Yeah.
And it may be the business that we ride into the sunset with, right? But it was always, even if it broke even, it was still a plus to the core business that we were already building, the sales business. Laundry, Chris and I, we're investing in real estate. We do single family homes, and then we got some friends that are commercial guys and bring opportunities, right? Like once you help enough people, then people start to help you, right? So they're bringing deal flow in, and there's some retail. I like retail. I understand it, and I just like it. I like people working hard, in these places, and small business owners, all that. So I invested in a retail center with some friends of mine, and 3 of the units were leased, 2 units were vacant. We believed we can get the other 2 spaces rented. Got the 4th space rented, but the 5th space we could never get rented. And we're like, all right, it's not okay to just not improve this real estate. We increase the value when you have it all leased out. And so we've got to solve this problem. So we started looking at businesses we could plug into the 5th space that would cash flow very quickly and would juice the value of the strip center.
Yeah.
Right. And so we looked at pizza shops, we looked at all these things, and then we got on laundry, and we're like, all right, well, this is a good little business model. Good debt, great for your taxes, right? Like to be able to depreciate the machines and all that. Pretty low oversight requirement from a leadership perspective and time investment. And gets, just based on the numbers that we thought we could hit, got the cash flow positive pretty quickly. So, well, let's do it. And so we put a laundromat in there, and that laundromat, it's still open today, rocking and rolling. It is the best cash flowing asset that I own today. And the only thing that we were doing was trying to solve an investment problem.
It goes back to real estate again.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure out how to solve that.
We were just trying to solve that real estate problem, because it's natural for me to be an investor in real estate, right? Because my whole world is real estate. And so it was just natural for me to invest in all these deals. Well, daggum, you're always kind of looking for a competitive edge in a business. Well, if we're going to invest in commercial real estate, why not juice that investment even more by putting a cash flowing business in every piece of commercial real estate we buy? And so our whole model now for investing in commercial real estate is to find a strip center that we can plug a laundromat into so that we have 2 cash flowing opportunities out of that. The real estate and the laundry. I'm
going to give folks just a little insight into it. Like when I think of a laundromat, a lot of folks think of laundromat, they go like, man, that's just like 25 cents at a time though. And can you give folks a scope of why is it a great business economically?
Well, all right. So again, the debt on the machines is good debt. It's not as easy as like real estate debt, right? With a long amortization. It's got a shorter amortization, which means the payments are higher.
Yeah.
But it's still pretty low rate on the interest. And you can depreciate the machines on your taxable income. So it really kind of offsets some of that expense there. A large part of laundry is choosing the right location. So it's not like you have a service that you're wondering if people are going to pay for it. Like, it's an essential service. When COVID shut everybody down, they had essential services that were allowed to open back up pretty quick. Well, laundry is an essential service. And so whenever you're selling an essential service, it's just a matter of choosing the right location and delivering it well. And so home building, we have to have shelter. Mm-hmm. It's somewhat of an essential service, right? And so we saw economically we can get high leverage, so we didn't have to put a bunch of money into it to get it open. Then we saw these other opportunities for us, to write down some income. It's a pretty easy business to manage. There's lots of people, but it's the process is fairly simple. And then the one thing that we've integrated into our laundromats that not everybody does, but it's a good part of our business is you have access to a demographic of the population that needs help. And we love the opportunity to be able to go into our stores and connect with people, in a supportive way emotionally, but also, how can we help you financially? So not only do we reward people with, some free laundry here and there, but we give books away. Every one of our stores, if a child picks up one of the books off of the rack and they want it, we tell them to take it. So we buy books every month. And
that's neat.
Yeah. And so a lot of these kids, their parents don't have money to buy books. You and I have books in our house, and our kids, they're going to be blessed because if they want a book, we're just going to buy it, right? Like we can do it like that. But these kids, that's that $20 for a book, that's probably feeding their family that night.
Yeah.
And they can't do that. So we give the books. Every August we buy book bags. So people can come in and the kids can just pick out a book bag, and hopefully that helps them for the start of their school year. We give Thanksgiving dinners away, just gift cards, to HEB to go get their Thanksgiving dinner. We do a number of things for the communities that fills a spot in our hearts that we don't get to scratch a lot of that. My job here in town. Low income folks aren't buying homes in Austin, Texas. And my kids go to a private school, right? The people that go there, they're not experiencing the same part of life.
They're not using a laundromat.
Yeah, that's right. And so my kids go with me to hand out the backpacks. We want to experience some of that stuff that we've been blessed with extreme gifts. And so you're not giving gifts just to enjoy them yourselves. You're giving gifts to steward those. Yeah. And so we get the opportunity to steward through that business that most people don't get the chance to. And so we just love it, man. Like that part of it, that mission, that purpose part of it feels really good too. But financially it's a rock star.
It's a great business. Well,
it's a rock star.
You can do both.
Yeah.
Man. Two more things on my brain, man, and we're going to have to get you in here for another. It's just like good conversations just go good. Yeah. One, before we get off the laundromat thing, talk to me about this minister of love.
Yeah. All right. So my father, oh man, I can't tell you. My dad is a good man. He is a good man. I can't think of another person on this planet that's more selfless than him. He got a little stir crazy when he retired.
Yeah.
And he needed something. And I was like, well, we're gonna open this laundromat. You want to go start this thing for us? And he was all in. He's like, oh yeah, I'll help you. And my dad, he needed it, to keep him busy, but like he was doing it for me. Like he was like, I'm not gonna let this fail. We're gonna get this thing going for you, Schuyler. And he was the first employee of the laundromat. And so went all the way back to sweeping floors and wiping walls and, running a a POS system. Like he did all the things, right? And now he's a regional manager for us. But the next step for him, we're about to grow and split his job into two people. And then we're going to put him into this role called the Minister of Love. He's already operating in this role, but his title is the Minister of Love. And his job is to not only love on our people, our team, but to love on our clients and to find ways to love on them. And so I'll tell you two things. And then if you want more, we can go all day. But my father every morning prays that someone comes to him and needs prayer. And he won't leave the store until he prays for somebody. And so he's looking, like literally shows up to the store knowing that he can't leave that day unless he prays for somebody. And so he's looking for them. And think about the conversations that he's setting out to have with every person on the floor. And so he's going person to person because he knows he can't go home until he prays for somebody.
That's cool.
So he's checking in with every client. He's checking in with every employee. He is hunting, looking for God to put on his heart, like this is the one. And so every day he does that. He's looking for somebody to love on. And then, I'll just this is the type of dude he is. He's at the laundromat working. Okay. One of these guys come in, he's hunting to pray with him, right? And, and it's a regular. And I don't know his name, but I'll just call him John. He's like, John, how you doing? And John's like, well, it's not good today. And he goes, well, what's going on? He's like, well, I'm being evicted from my apartment. And my truck's broke down, so I'm not going to be able to get my stuff out of my apartment. So I'm about to lose all my stuff because the apartment complexes they'll lock
shut it down.
Yeah, they'll lock the doors, and then your stuff is theirs. And this is at 5:00. My dad's about to get in the truck and go home. And my dad's like, well, where's it at? He's up the street, right, a couple miles away. I was like, well, get in the truck, let's go. Joseph, my dad's 65. He's got a replaced knee. The dude, he don't need to be moving furniture. But he worked with that other older guy all night long to move his furniture out of his apartment with my dad's truck, making all these trips just because.
Yeah.
Just because he's a minister of love.
Yeah.
And my mom, he gets home at night. My mom's like, what are you doing? He's like, well, I was helping this guy move. And she's like, you're helping a guy move? And he probably not, and he probably couldn't walk the next day,
No, I know.
But
it's on his heart for some reason. He's got it there, man. It sounds like that's kind of y'all's, it makes me want to go wash my clothes at your laundromat.
Yeah.
Just kind of see what the experience, that's not the experience you would expect.
No.
Yeah. Out of a place like that.
We want a loving staff. So when we're hiring people, we need them to be able to do the job. But if you're not a loving person, you're not really a fit.
Yeah.
Because we need you. One of our core values is whistle while you work, and that's also for my dad. Like you'll know my dad's in the store because he's whistling. He's whistling while he's cleaning the toilets. The dude's he's just happy, and that's how we want people to work in that organization. And you gotta be a lover, and we're not there all the time, right? And certainly not everybody's experience is what we want it to be, and certainly customers come into our laundromats and don't treat our people well. So it's not always a loving situation, but if things are running well, we're just loving on people all day long, and they just happen to show up and wash their clothes. Right? Yeah. That's what we're after.
You gotta love that, man.
Yeah.
Schuyler, let's close out with this.
Yeah.
The Steady Leader book. It just went live last week, right here, man.
Yeah.
And so just tell me a little bit about kind of the whole purpose behind this book here. I think probably from listening to you during this conversation, folks might just have an idea, but what was the whole reason for putting this thing together?
Yeah. A couple years ago, I think God put on my heart the word influence. And so like any problem I would solve in my business, I went and read a bunch of books and on how to be an influencer. And I'm not doing a great job at it. I'm not this super influential person. But what I learned was all the influence is written in a book. And I'm a guy that's very willing to put in the work. And so if I just need to go write a book, I'll just write a book. And the thing that I could bless the world with the most was a book on being a steady leader. And so when I took off on the idea, I just said, what am I to my wife that matters the most? What was I to my team in combat that matters the most? What am I to my team today that matters the most? And the thing is steady. And the more I thought about it, all of the leadership books that are written out there are to help leaders be steady themselves, to have steady producing teams and have steady producing companies. And so to me, it just made sense. I'm like, all right, well, what makes me steady as a leader? And I'm a models-driven guy. And so the book is just all the models that I use to lead myself every day, to lead my team every day, and to lead my business every day. And so if you buy the book and you open it up, it's going to be just a bunch of models, and some cool stories along the way.
Yeah. No, knowing you, man, I know that it's an interesting read, and you probably don't even know that you're learning something, but you will walk away from it better.
Yeah, that's what I pray. And I had a coach call me after he read it, and this is a business coach, and I didn't know him before I had a conversation with him. We don't have like a history together, and I never hired him as a business coach, but he's just a guy in my network. And he calls me, he goes, "Hey, Schuyler, you gave a lot of models away. You didn't hold anything back to like upsell." And it was never the point to upsell this. I'm not a coach.
Yeah.
This was my gift to the world.
I'm giving away the good, bad, and the mistakes and everything else that comes along with it.
Yep. And I know, John Maxwell defines leadership as influence. And so, I'm to some extent, I'm after influence with the world. And I know this, if you can live your life in such a way that someone wants a part of it, so they either want to be like you financially, have your balance sheet, or they want to be like you physically, or they want to be like you spiritually, or they want to run a business like yours, you'll have their influence. You will. They will come to you for that. And then you can make them a better person through your influence. And so that's it. If I can write a book and I can get some more people to follow me, then maybe, just maybe, I can say a thing here and there that can make people better and then make this world a better place. Kind of just make the world more loving.
Yeah, man. Well, that's a good mission to have. And kind of going back to the beginning here, it's about also, leading yourself first. So
every day.
Man, we are stoked we got so many good things in route with Schuyler here. One, got the book out, so please, I hope folks go check this out. Two, we're going to be doing some behind the scenes with you on a couple of your businesses, man, from laundry to building homes.
You're gonna meet the Minister of Love.
I cannot wait, man. I cannot wait to meet the Minister of Love, and I might be his guy that day that he can do some praying on. So all that to say, We're stoked, man. Thank you for being an example and just kind of always. Every time I've had engagements with you and other people have met you, man, just being so forthcoming with your time. So thank you, Schuyler, for the time today.
Yes, my pleasure.
Thanks for tuning in to the American Operator Podcast, where we celebrate the backbone of America, small business owners and operators like you. If you've enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe so you'll never miss out on more of these stories and insights from people who keep our community strong. Until next time, keep building, keep operating, and keep America moving forward.